One day, Olivia decides to leave her husband, Tim, walk away, and start a new life. She resolutely heads for the door. Tim rushes after her, and the couple freezes in front of the doorway, which is completely blocked by an unknown black substance. Nor do they have any idea where the wall came from. Olivia accuses Tim of orchestrating it and demands he let her out. Tim tries to convince her he has no clue how to remove the wall and bangs on it to prove his point. But the bricks are solid, unmoving, and the intercom is dead. He steps away from the door, unaware that the bricks, although slowly, respond to touch. Meanwhile, Olivia peers out the window, only to discover it too is bricked over with the same black material. The couple realizes they're trapped inside their own home. While Tim tries to break through the wall, Olivia calls their landlord, but there's no signal, no Wi-Fi. They move through the apartment, hoping to find some reception. That's when Tim notices the phone starts malfunctioning near the mysterious wall, though he can't make sense of the anomaly. Being an architect and builder, Olivia tries to identify the material. It's not carbon fiber, not liquid granite. She's never encountered anything like it, and its construction defies all logic. She tries to break through it using a power drill, but only overheats the bit. Seeing her struggle, Tim jumps in to help, but it's hopeless. The drill doesn't even scratch the surface. Attempts to break through the wall in other parts of the building also fail. The entire stairwell is sealed with the same black bricks. The only success they have is managing to break through a wall shared with the neighboring apartment. Inside, they find a young couple, just as confused as they are. Marvin is in full-blown panic, yelling at them to help contact the landlord, convinced he wants them dead. Anna, tearful and disoriented, says she noticed the wall right after waking up. Crying uncontrollably, she's convinced they're all going to die in this prison. Olivia tries to calm her down and quickly realizes the couple is under the influence of illegal substances. Meanwhile, Tim discovers the water is gone, and they immediately begin to inventory their supplies. Realizing they won't last long, Tim, obsessed with finding a way out, suggests they treat the whole situation like a game. But Olivia snaps. His damn game again. They could have left yesterday and none of this would have happened. Now they're trapped in a building, wrapped in construction fabric, with no idea when or if anyone will notice they're gone. Furious, Olivia announces they're no longer a couple and storms into another room. After the fight, they sit in opposite corners of the apartment, each trying to figure out a solution. Suddenly, Tim notices a small metal object stuck to the brick wall. He pulls it off, but it quickly snaps back into place. Olivia approaches, guilt softening her mood, and the couple reconciles. Tim shows her the discovery. He magnetizes a spoon to the wall. Olivia immediately brings over a pile of metal items and sticks them to the door. It turns out the strongest magnetic pull is coming from 4 particular bricks. Tim tries to make sense of the pattern, while Olivia uses trial and error to decipher it. After she attaches several utensils to the larger bricks, a sudden burst of energy erupts from the wall, throwing them both to the ground. Tim is left with sharp lacerations across his back, and Olivia rushes to help, carefully pulling out the twisted metal fragments, now warped by the magnetic field. Later, the couple sits down at the table to eat whatever food they can find at home, when suddenly they hear loud screams coming from their neighbors. Tim shouts through the hole in the wall, but there's no response, though it's clear Marvin is furious and Anna is terrified. They widen the hole to get through to the neighboring apartment, grabbing a baseball bat just in case. Once inside, they find the place in chaos. Furniture overturned, blood on the floor, and Anna lying unconscious. Olivia guides Anna into another room to tend to her, while Tim searches the apartment. That's when Marvin attacks, knocking him down. But Olivia arrives just in time and sprays Marvin with pepper spray. Tim strikes him with the bat until Anna suddenly leaps to Marvin's defense, explaining through tears that the blood is his. She hit him by accident while trying to break through the wall. They tie Marvin up until he stabilizes. Tim continues searching the apartment and discovers a small storage room packed with boxes. He turns on the light and feels, more than sees, the strange bricks outside the window start to shift. Olivia joins him, and they begin rummaging through the storage space together. She finds several hidden surveillance cameras of different sizes, while Tim uncovers a splitting axe and immediately tries to smash the wall with it, but not even a dent appears. Coming to his senses, Marvin warns that Tim will break the axe if he keeps going, and is stunned to learn he had attacked the couple earlier. He apologizes, blaming his aggression on the heavy drug use. As he and Anna reconcile, Olivia suddenly has an idea. The axe may still be their ticket out. If they break through the floors, they can reach the basement, where there's an old bomb shelter with an exit to the subway tunnels. The team gets to work. Tim tears up the floorboards, Olivia digs through the soil layer underneath, and Anna suggests it might all be the work of aliens. Marvin, on the other hand, insists it's the landlord's doing. Finally, after making a hole large enough, they lower Tim to the floor below to scout ahead. But waiting for him, there is Mr. Oswald, armed with a pistol. The downstairs neighbor demands that Tim leave immediately, refusing to share his supplies. That's when his granddaughter Leah appears. She convinces her grandfather that locking himself in and rationing isn't the answer. They need to work together and try to escape through the tunnels. Olivia adds that there is indeed an exit that way. The old man finally agrees. Once everyone has climbed down, Marvin asks to be untied. Tim obliges but warns him, any more funny business and the next response won't be a baseball bat. It'll be a bullet from the old man's gun. Wanting to prove himself, Marvin starts breaking up the floor to clear a path into the basement. Meanwhile, Leah tries to reach out to her friend, the one she had a fight with the night before. But there's still no signal. She confesses that she woke up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, and when she came back, the wall was already there. As they work, Tim notices a tiny camera embedded in the smoke detector. The old man explains that these detectors were installed by the property owner, Mr. Friedman, and every room has one. Tim inspects the kitchen unit and finds yet another surveillance device, which leads him to a disturbing theory. What if they're part of some twisted reality show? Olivia suggests confronting Friedman directly. His apartment lies just beyond the wall. Tim, Olivia, Marvin, and Anna carve a hole through and slip into the unit. They're immediately struck by the bizarre and gaudy decor. It's like Friedman collected a little bit of everything, with no taste or restraint. Marvin, just in case, grabs a broken chair leg for protection. But their fears prove unnecessary. Friedman is lying near the entrance, lifeless in a pool of blood, both of his arms gone. Shocked, the group leaves the apartment. Tim is left to unravel the mystery of how and why the man's arms disappeared. Tim picks up Friedman's phone and finds dozens of identical photos of the strange black wall. Realizing there's nothing more to uncover here, the group returns to Mr. Oswald's apartment to resume their descent. While Anna is on the verge of a breakdown and Marvin swings the axe in a frenzy, it suddenly breaks through the concrete. Part of the floor collapses, taking both young couples down to the level below. The old man and his granddaughter remain upstairs. Leah wants to follow, but her grandfather hesitates, worried he'll slow her down. She persuades him, and together they descend using a ladder they found. Below, they're greeted by a man named Yuri, who had been staying with his friend Anton, the owner of the apartment. Yuri announces that an outbreak has occurred outside, and the brickwork is meant to shield them from external threats. He advises against trying to escape. He shows them Anton's body, lying lifeless near the wall. According to Yuri, his friend died of a heart attack. His pacemaker seemed to have failed, as if triggered by proximity to the wall. Tim immediately recalls how his phone reacted near the black bricks. The group expresses their condolences, then prepares to keep moving. But Yuri urges them to stay, warning again of the dangers outside. The group is divided, but most choose to press on. Leah lingers in Anton's room and notices his notes. According to Yuri, they may contain answers. Anton had become obsessed with the wall. Yuri believes his friend died from sheer terror at its overwhelming presence. He refuses to go any farther. Meanwhile, the others smash through the floor and finally reach the basement. Olivia and Tim make their way through the dark hallways, breaking through doors in search of an exit to the metro tunnel. They find it. Olivia hacks through rusted locks with the axe. Yuri, however, watches from the basement entrance with a sinister smirk, as if he expected this. And soon he listens in smug satisfaction to their screams. Convinced the underground exits are sealed by the same black wall. Below, Marvin loses it, swinging the axe at the obstruction with unhinged rage. To stop him from destroying their only tool, Mr. Oswald raises his pistol. Marvin pretends to calm down, then lunges, seizing the gun and firing at the wall. But the bullets freeze in midair, suspended before they hit. Tim, remembering the utensils, yells for everyone to get down, but a ricochet fatally strikes the old man. He dies in Leah's arms. The survivors return to Yuri, hoping to understand what brought them all together. Anna offers a theory. Perhaps it's their brush with death. She once had a near-death experience. Leah had been by her mother's side until the very end. Yuri, a former police officer, had taken a life in the line of duty. Marvin has now killed a man, whether he meant to or not, and Olivia confesses that she and Tim lost their child. Tim is unsettled by her openness. He walks away, and Olivia follows to confront their emotional distance. Their argument becomes the catalyst for a new plan. Tim suggests returning to Friedman's apartment in search of clues. Meanwhile, Leah and Olivia begin examining Anton's notes and discover an encrypted code they believe might lead to an exit. At the same time, Tim, Marvin, and Anna search Friedman's apartment and come across a control panel linked to a hidden room. Back in Anton's apartment, Olivia and Leah find one of his business cards. It turns out he worked in the field of nanotechnology. Inside his desk are shattered gadgets, which, according to Yuri, Anton hurled at the wall in frustration when he couldn't crack its secret. Once again, Yuri warns that radiation or other external dangers await beyond. Using flour, Tim manages to reveal the keypad's fingerprint patterns, narrowing it down to 24 possible combinations. While Anna calls the others, Tim cycles through the options until he unlocks the secret room. But inside, they find nothing more than a surveillance hub. Dozens of hidden cameras monitoring the entire building. Yet one of the recordings captures the exact moment the wall appeared. Meanwhile, alone in Anton's room, Leah notices bruises on his neck, on the clear signs of strangulation. Yuri has been lying. Marvin decides to confront him. As the others review footage, they see Anton snapping a selfie in front of the door. Then a light floods in from the stairwell. He managed to open the wall. Marvin finds Yuri burning Anton's notes, the ones that contain the key to escape. On the floor lies Leah's lifeless body. Back in the surveillance room, the group watches in horror as the recording shows Yuri murdering his so-called friend. Realizing what just happened, Tim grabs the gun and runs to help Marvin, who is being choked by Yuri. Seeing Tim, Yuri releases the half-conscious Marvin, wrests the gun away, and lunges at Tim. The villain nearly manages to strangle Tim, but Marvin regains consciousness just in time and strikes Yuri in the head. Olivia rushes in and begs them not to kill him. He might know how to get out. Listening to his wife, Tim knocks Yuri out with a blow to the head. They tie him up, and Tim hands the gun to Marvin, asking him to keep an eye on the prisoner. Tim then joins Olivia, who's mourning Leah's death. Tim picks up what's left of Anton's papers and, after examining them, suggests that differently sized bricks might be a part of a code, something like Morse. Then he notices Anton's business card and realizes he worked in the same building where the fire broke out the day before. The events might be connected. When Yuri regains consciousness, they begin to interrogate him. With a gun to his head, he confesses, "The wall is a protective barrier, designed to shield against catastrophes like nuclear blasts or chemical attacks." Apparently, the fire triggered a system failure, causing the barrier to activate. Anton tried to deactivate it, but Yuri stopped him, believing a real threat still existed outside. Enraged, Marvin beats the prisoner, but Anna calls them into the surveillance room. On the monitor, they see Anton's desk, where he had been working on an app designed to open the wall using a QR code. Even though Yuri destroyed Anton's laptop, Tim hopes to recover the app by restoring Anton's phone. After copying the application to a working smartphone, the tenants return to the wall to test Tim's theory. Upon scanning the door, the app displays 4 buttons. Pressing them in sequence triggers a glow across the bricks. Before their stunned eyes, the black bricks seem to melt, becoming a viscous, pulsating mass that fills the doorway. This new wall throbs, refusing to let them pass. Anna touches the goo. It doesn't harm her. She then plunges her hand into it. She says she can feel something moving inside, just as Yuri in the other room predicts their imminent death. Marvin rushes to the door and pleads with Anna to pull her hand back, but she can't. They try to pull her out, but the wall swallows Anna whole, hardening in front of their eyes. All that remains is half her body in their hands. Marvin screams in anguish, then sees Yuri laughing. In a rage, he shoots the prisoner dead, and then, without a word, walks into the wall after his love. Now alone, Tim and Olivia talk honestly for the first time. They finally find clarity and understanding. Tim suggests trying a different button combination. Suddenly, Olivia has an idea. Each button triggers a specific number of flashes on Anton's gadget. From the surveillance footage, Anton had known the correct sequence. They count the flashes, determine the code, and return to the wall, unaware that Yuri has regained consciousness. He attacks Tim, then turns toward Olivia, who stumbles and falls into the basement. Tim throws Yuri in after her. Tim jumps down. While Yuri rummages through trash bags looking for a weapon, the couple runs and locks themselves in a storage room. Tim braces one door as Olivia inputs the code on the second. Yuri charges at Tim with a knife, just as the blackness behind the door begins to lighten. Tim shouts for Olivia to run as Yuri raises the blade. But at the last moment, Olivia strikes Yuri down, killing him. The couple exits through the tunnel. Outside, they're met with daylight and the sight of city buildings covered in the same nanomaterial walls. They pause, looking back. Then, instead of helping the others, they get in a car and drive off, listening to the news about the activation of a government system that locked people inside their own homes. An atmospheric psychological horror that masterfully uses confined space to build escalating tension and explore the deepest human fears.